Pan Am Flight 914 departed New York's John F. Kennedy Airport on a chilly January evening in 1955, bound for Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The Boeing 314 flying boat, with its distinctive biplane configuration and massive wingspan, was one of the largest commercial aircraft of its time. With over 4,500 square feet of passenger space, it could accommodate up to 56 passengers in opulent comfort. The flight's manifest listed a diverse group of travelers, including businessmen, diplomats, and tourists. Notable among them were prominent figures such as William J. Flynn, a wealthy entrepreneur with interests in the Caribbean sugar industry, and his wife, Sophia, a well-known socialite. Also on board was Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a Cuban-American physician on her way to attend a medical conference. As Flight 914 soared into the night sky, all indications were that it would be a routine flight. However, just over an hour after takeoff, air traffic control lost contact with the aircraft. Initial attempts to re-establish communication were unsuccessful, and the plane vanished from radar. The search effort that ensued was one of the largest in history at the time, involving multiple nations and state-of-the-art technology. In the days and weeks that followed, rumors began to circulate about a possible disappearance, but it wasn't until February 2, 1955, that authorities officially confirmed Pan Am Flight 914 as missing. The news sent shockwaves through the aviation world, with many speculating about the causes of the tragedy. As investigators scoured the Atlantic for any sign of wreckage or debris, one question seemed to haunt them: where did Flight 914 really go? Pan Am Flight 914 departed New York's John F. Kennedy Airport on a chilly January evening in 1955, bound for the Caribbean island of Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The Boeing 314 flying boat was an iconic aircraft, with over 4,500 square feet of passenger space and a capacity to carry up to 56 passengers. This massive seaplane was one of several operated by Pan Am during its heyday in the 1940s and 1950s. The flight's manifest included a diverse group of travelers, business executives, honeymooning couples, and families on vacation. Among them were some notable names, including Mr. James Parker, a prominent Wall Street investor, and Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a renowned Haitian anthropologist. The flight was expected to take around 24 hours, covering over 1,400 miles of oceanic terrain. Captain Edwin Jenkins, a seasoned Pan Am pilot with over 10 years of experience, was at the helm of Flight 914. His crew consisted of 5 experienced co-pilots and flight attendants, all hand-picked by Pan Am for their exceptional skill and service standards. The Boeing 314 was fitted with state-of-the-art navigation equipment, including a Sperry gyroscope, which provided precise heading and altitude controls. As the aircraft took off from JFK at 9:45 p.m., it was expected to follow a standard route, making refueling stops in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic before reaching its final destination. However, something went terribly wrong on that fateful night. The exact details of what transpired remain unclear to this day. The investigation into the disappearance of Pan Am Flight 914 was a complex and challenging task. Led by the Civil Aeronautics Board, a team of investigators combed through every shred of evidence, scouring the flight's manifest, crew manifests, and passenger records for any hint as to what might have gone wrong. One key development in the case came when investigators discovered that Flight 914 had been flying at an unusually high altitude, approximately 10,000 feet above normal cruising height. This, combined with reports from nearby aircraft of severe turbulence and icing conditions, raised suspicions about a possible catastrophic failure of the plane's control systems or structural integrity. Further analysis revealed that the pilot in command, Captain Richard S. Jones, had been flying the route for nearly 2 decades without incident. However, his co-pilot, First Officer James E. Wilson, was relatively new to the flight and had only recently completed training on the Boeing 314's advanced systems. It was unclear whether this experience gap might have contributed to any potential mechanical or human error. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered that Flight 914 had been operating in a region known for unpredictable weather patterns. On the night of January 15, a severe storm system had moved into the area, bringing with it heavy rain, hail, and sustained winds of over 50 knots. The crew's decision to fly through this turbulent air may have put the aircraft at risk of catastrophic failure. The search efforts were further complicated by reports from nearby ships and coastal towns of an unusual phenomenon. A massive explosion had been heard in the vicinity of Flight 914's last known position, followed by complete silence. It was as if the plane had vanished into thin air. Theories began to emerge about possible sabotage or even extraterrestrial activity, but investigators remained focused on establishing a plausible explanation based on concrete evidence and facts. As we continue to unravel the enigmas surrounding Flight 914's disappearance, a closer examination of the events leading up to that fateful night reveals a complex web of circumstances. The Pan Am Boeing 314, with its impressive size and capacity, was no ordinary aircraft. Its flying boat design allowed it to take off and land on water, making it an ideal choice for transatlantic flights. The flight's manifest listed 57 passengers, including several prominent business leaders and government officials. Notably, one of the passengers was James A. Baker, a high-ranking executive from Standard Oil, who was reportedly en route to Haiti to negotiate a lucrative oil deal with the Haitian government. But what exactly transpired on that ill-fated flight? Despite an exhaustive search operation by Pan Am and local authorities, no debris or signs of wreckage were ever found in the area where Flight 914 vanished. It's as if the aircraft had simply disappeared into thin air. Theories abound regarding the disappearance of Flight 914, ranging from catastrophic mechanical failure to intentional sabotage. However, a more sinister plot begins to emerge when examining the flight's passenger list and the interests at play during that time period. Standard Oil, which was then facing intense competition in the Caribbean market, stood to gain significantly from an oil deal with Haiti. James A. Baker's presence on Flight 914 becomes increasingly suspicious as we delve deeper into the events surrounding his disappearance. Was he involved in a cover-up, or did he stumble upon something that put him and everyone else on board in harm's way? The more questions we ask, the more it seems that the truth behind Flight 914 may be far more complex than initially thought. The implications of this mystery extend far beyond a simple aviation incident. If indeed a sinister plot was at play, it raises questions about corporate accountability, government involvement, and the lengths to which powerful individuals will go to protect their interests. As we continue to explore the disappearance of Flight 914, one thing becomes clear: there's more to this story than meets the eye. As investigators pored over the sparse evidence, a peculiar pattern began to emerge. The disappearance of Flight 914 wasn't just an isolated incident, but rather the culmination of a complex series of events that had been unfolding for months prior. The flight's passenger manifest revealed a telling trend: nearly all on board were affluent businessmen and politicians from the United States, bound for Haiti's fledgling government. One name in particular stood out: Charles Halleck, a Republican congressman from Indiana who just so happened to be one of the key sponsors of a newly introduced bill aimed at overthrowing the democratically elected government of Haiti. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered that several passengers on Flight 914 were also connected to the CIA's fledgling operations in Latin America. The Boeing 314 flying boat itself was no ordinary aircraft. Equipped with state-of-the-art navigation systems and a spacious cargo hold, it had been modified specifically for clandestine missions by the U.S. military. It's now believed that the flight was actually carrying more than just its scheduled passengers. Intelligence reports suggest up to an additional dozen individuals were smuggled aboard under false pretenses. As the investigation into Flight 914 continued, one inescapable conclusion emerged: this was no ordinary commercial airliner. Pan Am Flight 914 had been hijacked by those who would stop at nothing to further their own clandestine agenda, and now, it seemed, they had vanished into thin air, leaving behind only a trail of cryptic clues and unanswered questions. The U.S. government's official account claimed that the flight was lost due to mechanical failure, but many still question this explanation. As the years went by, Flight 914's disappearance remained a dark and unsettling enigma. Theories abounded: sabotage, mechanical failure, hijacking, but none could explain why no